and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where we are going to be answering the incredibly difficult question of who on earth is going to replace Sergio Busquets at Barca. How can we do that? Is it even possible? That is what we're discussing in today's video, but it's not only about players today, it's not only about who and why could come in and effectively replace Busquets, but how? As we're going to be looking into how our midfield is going to look next season, the setup, the changes that Xavi makes, and how we're going to organise everything in that area. It is all coming up today. It is all going to be discussed. So come on, and let's do this. Because today's special video, guys, is coming to you courtesy of So Rare, where you all have until Friday midday to submit your final team selections in Liga TalkFCB for this weekend's games in La Liga. And I'm going to show you my team before the weekend here. I am sticking with Ter Stegen and Koundé in my defence. I'm counting on us to keep out Espanyol. I've got Ana Martinez in there as well, the Girona right back, of course, and En-Nesyri, who's been in good form of late, and I have brought in Dani Parejo, who is my captain and is the hub of everything in Quique Setien's Villarreal team. So guys, do you think you can beat me there? Do you think you can do better with your lineup this weekend? Come over and join the TalkFCB League. Follow the link in the description down below. That's going to take you there over to So Rare. It is completely free to play. There's so many of you already in the league. Really appreciate that, guys. It should be exciting, and we're going to be checking in at the start of next week on the rankings, on the live table, to see how you got on. So go over there now, get your teams drafted before the deadline, and I'll see you there. But back to the task in hand here, because Sergio Busquets has indeed announced his imminent departure from Barca, and we are all well aware of the enormous hole that he's going to leave behind, not only in our midfield, but our whole team indeed. He's been the heartbeat of our midfield now for so many years. He's the definition of consistency, and in so many ways, he's been unique. So how on earth do you replace that? It's a daunting decision that the club has to make this summer, but it's also a decision the club must get right. Now look, if I had unlimited money this summer, you know, as some clubs do, they're very lucky, that's not us, but if I had unlimited money, I would go straight out and I'd buy Rodri from Man City. Done. Absolutely done. For me, that would be the perfect signing at the base of our midfield, and in my opinion, we should have got him when he was leaving Atletico Madrid, when he was already in La Liga. We had a chance to pick him up there. We could have actually gone in for him even before that as well, during his time at Villarreal. That was one that we certainly missed out on, but now that he's at Man City's team, a crucial part of Pep's side, it's not a move that is possible right now. So back to the real world. Which then brings me onto Martin Zubimendi, the 24-year-old Spanish international currently playing his football at Real Sociedad in La Liga. Now, in my opinion, this would be Xavi's number one choice. I believe here, if he could go out this summer, in terms of realistic options who are available, Xavi would love to sign Zubimendi from Sociedad. And you can see why he likes him and why he is such a big fan of him. Quite clearly, he's a player that's really suited to La Liga, the style of play. He's been such a consistent performer at Real Sociedad, and I do feel as though he would really suit Barca well. He is a quality footballer, I've got no doubt about that. But what's the problem then? Why aren't we going to go for Zubimendi this summer? Well, that appears to be price related, because Real Sociedad are absolutely clear. Anyone that wants to sign Zubimendi, and Arsenal have been linked with him as well, you've got to pay his release clause. And that stands at 60 million euros. Now that for me is huge money, too much money for Zubimendi. So I believe he's not an option, at least for this summer, when it comes to Barca. So what do you do now? Where do you look next? Because when you're looking at the likes of Rodri, Zubimendi, these are players for me who couldn't necessarily replace Busquets. I'm not saying that they're the same as him in his peak or anything like that, but they do at least share similar characteristics to him. They would at least play the same role in the same way as that single pivot. But here's the thing right now, guys, because we do continue to say we can't replace Busquets, not like for like. It's not possible to get a player like him again, which is why I would say right now, okay, if you can't replace him directly, then don't. Because it might just be time for Barca here, in line with the evolution and the changes that we're seeing year on year in modern football. it might be time now to take a different path. It might be the opportunity to do something new and evolve as a team. Because you've got Frenkie de Jong. That's the starting point for me, because the fact that you have him, and we can't forget that, by the way, we've got a wonderful midfielder here. We have an absolutely world-class player waiting for us right there, who's got an incredible skill set, and that now we've got to fully utilise that. We have to play to Frenkie de Jong's strengths in our midfield. And for me, that's not as a single pivot. If you play Frenkie there on his own, you limit him. If you play him at the base, you play him too deep in the field, you limit what he can do, the positions that he can take up. You take away so much of the freedom, which makes his game so imposing and impressive. So you play with two. That's what you have to do now. I think it's time, and I think Xavi agrees with that, because we've seen, even right throughout this season, he's experimented with that double pivot. I think he knew that maybe the time was going to come when we didn't have Busquets. So far this season, we've seen experimentation. We've seen a double pivot quite frequently, even with Busquets in the team, and it has provided us more security. It has allowed de Jong to have the freedom, and he has had a brilliant season. More often than not, the double pivot has worked for Xavi's team, so you've got Frenkie de Jong as the one pivot in your team. Now, you've got to get him a partner. You've got to get somebody who's also used to this kind of setup and that can also work well alongside a player like de Jong. They need to complement each other, and that player may be Sofyan Amrabat, the 26-year-old Moroccan currently playing his football in Serie A with Fiorentina, and everything right now points to Amrabat being the chosen one this summer, being the man, the priority to bring in midfield. And it's said right now that he is desperate to come here, just like he was in January, ahead of the summer transfer window. He will do everything in his power to make this move to Barça, providing, of course, that we can agree that deal with Fiorentina. Now again, and I've got to stress this, Amrabat is not a Busquets replacement. In terms of a like-for-like replacement, they are not the same player. They're very different there. They have different skill sets and different characteristics out there in midfield. But in terms of somebody now to play in a double pivot alongside Frenkie to complement him, I think it's a great fit. I think Amrabat there is athletic. He can cover space really well. He's strong. He's aggressive in the way that he plays, and he also reads the game well. And I just want to make it clear about Amrabat, because a lot of the compilations that you see of him and, the highlights of his kind of game style, there's a lot of sliding tackles, there's a lot of big challenges there, where he is absolutely fantastic in those 1-versus-1 duels. But I just want to make it clear, he's also got technical quality. Make no mistake about that, guys. He can look after the ball. He's got a good touch about him. And some of his long-range passing, I mean, seriously, the long balls that he can pick out there, the runs that he can pick out is absolutely outstanding. So this guy can still play. Yes, he's strong. Yes, he's aggressive. He's athletic. All of these things, but also a technical player too, which means what you have here, potentially ahead of next season, is a Frenkie de Jong, Sofyan Amrabat double pivot. And we've heard a lot about this midfield that we may see next season from Xavi. The midfield four, the rhombus, of course, like I say, we've seen experimenting with it already this season, because also then when you think ahead of what we could see next season in those more advanced midfield positions, you've got Pedri, we know that, he's capable of playing either on the right or the left, he can do both of those without any problem. There's Xavi there as well, of course, don't forget him. But also, guys, let's not forget, Xavi is aiming on having Lionel Messi there. He wants to have Messi as that more advanced midfielder, as part of the midfield four, and I think the plan next season is to have these midfielders here, more advanced, two of them a lot closer to the forwards, to basically stop us being so isolated in the final third. I think Xavi wants those to be much higher in the field, to have a lot more dynamism in the attacking third, but what then you need to sort of complement that is two players behind them then, two more defensive-minded players who can cover space, who can protect those ahead of them and can get about the pitch with ease. Very athletic players. And like I say, you look at Frenkie de Jong, you look at Amrabat together as a combination, they fit well with the team, with the philosophy, with Xavi's ambition. And that is why right now we are looking at Amrabat, we know what we have with Frenkie, and the plan is in place. Not to replace Busquets, the man is irreplaceable, but to try now and evolve and move forward on a new path. So that, indeed, guys, right there is a discussion on how we can move on, how we can try to move forward, even despite losing such a crucial player in our era, such an important player in our whole system. How do we do that? How can we find a way to move forward? I want to know your thoughts in the comments down below. Number one, do you like Sofyan Amrabat? Would you like to see him join Barca? Do you feel as though he could be an important part of Xavi's team? And also, guys, do you like that double pivot? Would you like to see Barca switch permanently next season to those two players holding and those more advanced players ahead of them? Do let me know those thoughts as well in the comments down below. Thank you indeed here today for joining me for this video. Thank you indeed as well to So Rare and for all of you guys getting involved in the TalkFCB League. It's fantastic and I'm really, really excited about it. And I thank you indeed for all of your tremendous support. I'll be back soon, you know that I will, with more videos. But until next time, guys, as always, Visca El Barça.